Journey Stories is the first exhibit from the Smithsonian to come to the state of Texas. The Museum on Main Street program is a little over 20 years old, and the mission of Museum on Main Street is to bring quality exhibits from the Smithsonian to smaller communities that may not have the resources to bring a Smithsonian exhibit to their site. In talking about journey stories, that reminds me of the journey stories that my grandmother, Grandma Zuris, made. Actually, Zuris is an anglicized last name. It was originally spelled Z-G-U-R-I-S and pronounced Zgurich. But my father, when he was at the University of Michigan in the late 30s, majoring in mechanical engineering, a professor called him into his office and said, "Sit down, son, we have to talk. You have to do something about that name. In order to get a good job in America," and this was in the 1930s, "in order to get a good job in America, you have to have a last name that people can pronounce and spell." And so my father and his brother dropped the G and made it Zuris. But let me get back to Grandma Zuris, because I did have the opportunity to talk to her before she did pass. She came from what is now Czechoslovakia, actually the Slovak side. 100% Slovak on my father's side. She lived in a small little village, a peasant girl, probably had little, if any, formal education, and did not, when she started her journey to America, did not know very much English, maybe a few words of English. And so she had to move from Eastern Europe, travel across the European continent to the coast, get on a steamer in steerage, third class, down to the bottom of the ship, across the Atlantic Ocean, through Ellis Island, where at any moment you could be yanked out of line. If you had a twitch, a limp, anything like that, you could be yanked out of line and sent back to your country of origin. She made it through Ellis Island, not knowing any English, and her mission, her goal was to find her older sister who was working in New York City as a domestic servant. Can you imagine a girl by herself? Everything that she had was in a suitcase and on her back, going across Europe, across the Atlantic, into New York City, not knowing English, trying to find her older sister. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Grandma Zuris was 16 when she did that. And when my daughters turned 16, I thought it was a leap of faith to allow them to drive a car, let alone travel halfway around the world. So I think we all have our journey stories to share. So please, talk to your parents, your grandparents, elders in the community, because they are a tremendous resource. Amen. And thank you all very much for coming to Journey Stories. On behalf of the Smithsonian and the Texas State Historical Association, we hope that you enjoy the exhibit. Thank you.